Day 7 was a travel day. We hit the expensive toll roads early and began the journey north. After 6 hours of driving through picturesque lands and tunnels in the middle of the mountains, we made it to the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa. Completed in 1372, the Leaning Tower took 199 years to build and was constructed by many architects who attempted to correct the lean throughout time. However, the lean got worse with every attempt. Today, the 8-story tower is a tourist magnet attracting over 1 million visitors each year. After taking cliché pictures of us holding the tower up, we drove a couple hours to the mountainside village of Monteretto, just in time to catch the sunset from our new Airbnb. The next morning we were greeted with a beautiful view and the sounds of Italian mountainside villages. When leaving your village by car, it's vital to have your window open or simply honk at every corner to ensure a car or a bus is not in the lane. Yes, the lane. Grazie. Good thing I pooed this morning. We safely arrived at Monte Rosa with the car fully intact. Today we are going to explore the Cinque Terre, or the 5 villages in English. There is a train which takes you to each village, or you can hike, and we decided to hike to the first village of Vernazza. For 2.5 hours we trekked across the rough paths and climbed up and down 88 flights of stairs, with no water. With it being autumn and a cold 35 degrees Celsius, and me being Canadian, I was the grumpiest person in Italy, until we got to Vernazza. The second we arrived, we bought 3 liters of water, some gelato, and some healthy drinks, none of which seemed cold enough for my Canadian blood. After our dessert and drinks, we then had lunch which consisted of focaccia and focaccia, and then we took in the views of the next villages, and we looked back to see just how far we had hiked. We wisely took the train to the next 3 villages, Cornelia, Manarola, and Rio Maggiore. The villages all have their own unique quirks to them. Manarola is a fishing village with fishing boats lining the streets. Cornelia isn't even along the shore but sits 100 meters above on a rocky cliff. The villages are also unique as they seamlessly blend tourists with all of its 6,000 residents. After exploring with the little energy we had left, we took the train back to Monte Rosa to watch the sunset and see the 4 other villages twinkle from afar. We woke up the next morning with what looked like a cargo ship in our backyard. However, they could have also been pirates. With that unsettling fear of pirates in our backyard, we fled. Our journey took us through even more beautiful views. Up until this point, we had no traffic issues and had wondered what would happen if your transport truck caught fire on the 2-lane autostrade. I was about to learn. Apparently when your vehicle is on fire, all traffic stops. After 45 minutes, the Italian firefighter showed up, seemingly out of breath from all the running. Shortly after the fire extinguished itself, the firefighters' tools had arrived in a panic. We eventually got past the fire and made it to the city which has produced every Ferrari ever made since 1943, Maranello. The Ferrari Museum is a must-visit for any car enthusiast. Every model Ferrari ever built is here, including my favorite, the Ferrari F40. Even better was the amount of Formula One history. All the championship cars and titles were here. It's a heaven for every F1 fan, even if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan. We then spent 38 Canadian dollars each to play Assetto Corsa for 7 minutes in Ferrari's actual F1 simulator. We had to leave before I blew the trip budget on playing a video game I already own, and went to Hombra, a farm not too far away. The owner of the farm owns a ton of old farming equipment, which was cool, but I was there to see his collection of Maseratis, the largest Maserati collection in the world. We then followed a tour group into a warehouse containing the king of cheese. Being one of the few places in Italy where you can get the real Parmigiano Reggiano, the warehouse had a distinctive smell. We awkwardly stood with the paying tour group to learn about the process of making cheese and watch the robot clean cheese wheels. The next day I wanted to see more wheels, so we went down the street from our new pirate-safe Airbnb to the new Ferruccio Lamborghini Museum. The museum contains the founder's entire personal collection of all things he had ever built through the years. However, I was most excited to see the car any boy born in the 90s had a poster of, the Countach. As a Lamborghini fan myself, I learned they used to make camping trailers, helicopters, speedboats, and even air conditioners. Even with the Pagani Museum not too far away, I wanted to see some more of Italy again. We went to the center of Bologna. We first stopped at Street Toast and met the humbly famous, as per Google reviews, owner Luca. He downloaded a guided tour on our phones and gave us the warmest welcome to his beloved city. We explored the city and wandered into the 833-year-old magnificent Cathedral of San Pietro. We continued to wander around and then we found the two towers. These two leaning towers in Bologna inspired the design of the World Trade Center. Even though we were tired from the Cinque Terre hike 2 days previously, we chose to climb the actual tallest leaning tower in Italy. The tower was built in 1119 and the 498 stairs were added in 1684. The climb wasn't so bad, but the ancient stairs had me a little worried with all the pizza I'd lately been consuming. From the top you get a perfect view of medieval Bologna until you see the out-of-place Unipol building. Eventually, it was time to go down, and the only way down is to take those stairs again, some of which only have a tread of 3 inches. One little slip and my name would be up there with the Galileo for testing up gravity in Italian leaning towers. Fortunately, I survived and was greeted by a gelato place, which I had to test. Up until this point we had climbed every step in Italy and seen every Italian supercar which wasn't a Pagani, but it was time to stay put for a bit in our Airbnb in Bologna and explore the historical cities nearby.